Hello and welcome to the 102nd episode of Fur, Fins, and Feathers. We are honored to have two guests who have returned to the show today to talk about the Rhode Island Kennel Club and the many activities, and we've got a new dog, a wonderful dog show coming up and everything. Welcome Jenny Dickinson and Deb Lawton from Swansea. And you are from? Rumford, Rhode Island. And you're going to tell us about all the wonderful things that go on at a dog show.
Ah, my favorite place to be.
Jenny, can you tell us about what we should be expecting? When is the dog show?
The dog show is the weekend after Easter. It's the 15th and 16th of April. It's at the Wide World of Indoor Sports in North Kingston. And
Kingstown, Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. And everyone is welcome. There is no admission cost. The show starts at 8 a.m. and runs until we select Best in Show. Each day is a separate show. And it's a great opportunity for people to come and talk to breed experts, people who have been in various breeds for enough years to really be able to tell you the distinct features of different breeds. And another thing that's great about dog shows is it allows you to become familiar with breeds you might not know about, but breeds that might be just right for you and your family. We'll have confirmation classes going on. We will also have obedience trials. And there will be people there, Deb and Brian and I will be there, and other people will be there who will be very interested to talk to you and answer your questions. Did I say there's no admission cost, and you are just welcome to come and go. Sometimes people ask if they might bring their own dogs, and at this event, this is only for dogs who are entered in the show. So bring your children, but don't bring your dog.
I don't know which is easier to leave at home.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Deb, who do we have here?
Well, this is an example of a retired show dog. This is Ivy, and her fancy AKC name is Kevra Star of the East, because she was born on Christmas Eve. So,
what breed is this?
This is a Border Terrier. And there'll be quite a few terriers at the show, as well as working dogs and hound dogs, sporting dogs, non-sporting dogs, which is a little of everything.
Yep.
And but Ivy enjoyed the show quite a bit, but this year she's going to stay home and relax and be the couch potato that she likes to be.
I was just telling Deb that my first Lhasa Apso was a retired show dog. He came to me at the age of 3 and lived to be 16 and was just a fabulous pet. So retired show dogs are an awful lot of fun because they already know how to behave around other dogs, and they're wonderful on the leash.
Yeah, and most of them are house trained.
Yeah.
And as people might see, Ivy's was a show dog, but she's just my family girl. I mean, she sleeps on our bed every night. She's the queen of the household. Queen of the household.
Yeah, that's right.
And she was the calmest one we could bring today. But
She's a beautiful dog.
Isn't she beautiful?
I enjoy very much, as a breeder, talking with people that come to visit at shows. And often when people call me and say they're interested in bringing a dog into their family, one of the first things I say is, go to a dog show and meet all the different types of dogs and see what's best to fit in with your family, and check their temperaments, the dog's temperaments, personalities, and it's a good place to do some fun research. Bring the whole family in.
And meet people and learn about the different breeds.
Exactly.
I went 42 years ago to buy a Basset Hound. And I ended up with a Kerry Blue Terrier because I found another breed that I really liked and was well suited for my family situation.
Yeah, people might think that breeders are snobbish or hard to approach, but we all love talking about dogs. There's nothing we'd rather talk about than our dogs. When I'm an obedience trainer, and I also train service dogs, and so temperament is more important to me than anything else. And it grieves me to see people choose a breed based on what it looks like, because this animal is going to be intimately connected with your family for 10 or 15 years, and you really want to find out as much as you can about temperament. What's the personality like? Is this a dog that's intense and busy, and or is this a dog who likes to lay around and watch TV with the kids and really doesn't have much of an agenda? I love to tell about a feature of my other breed, other than Losses, is the curly-coated retriever. And they are very persistent. People who do field work love the curly because they will go and find any downed bird that the other dogs have given up on. Very often at the end of a hunt, the curly will be sent out if there were birds that weren't found. The other side of that, I mean, that sounds like a kind of a romantic tale out in the field with a dog. I mean, that's great. The other piece of that is that my first curly was persistent in opening any gate, any door. There was no gate that he could not open. And I found him opening a gate in the backyard at one point, and he looked at me as if to say, I have nowhere else to go. I don't care how long this takes. I'm getting this gate open. And sure enough, he did. So now my gates all have big, heavy chains on them. I had to go to the hardware store and buy chains to put on the gates because I have curlies. And if you don't understand that, you're going to get mad at the dog for doing things he was selectively bred to do over the years. And so it's important to know whether you have a dog who's going to do the things that you want to do, but also his behavior in the household will reflect what his working ability was. You know, whether he's a digger,
That's right.
like a lot of the terriers. What are these features? And you don't necessarily get those by just looking at the dog and saying, "Oh, he's so cute. I want that." You know.
Research is so important.
It's just critical because it's part of your family for, as I say, 10 or 15 years.
You know, you can also learn about what the health needs are of the dog.
Exactly.
How to care for it. Border terriers, for example, have to be kept on a leash or in a fenced yard. They can't just go out and run and play with the kids at the softball field because they have a very high prey drive. They'll go after anything that moves. Although they can be good at home with a kitty cat if they are brought in as a young dog and want to, grow up with a cat. But these are the kinds of questions and information you can get that you may not think of if you see a dog and say, "Oh, that one's cute. I'd like one like that."
The other reason you want to talk directly to other people in the breed, is that if you go on the internet to buy a dog, you have no idea what you are going to get. There's an awful lot of fraud in selling dogs sight unseen. There have been many cases of pictures of dogs being taken from someone's website and taken and put on a website of somebody who's selling that breed, but that's not what you're going to receive. Likewise, pet shops might have dogs that look perfectly nice, but you don't know what conditions they were raised in, and that's troubling and can lead to having to have your dog be a behavioral project, which is not what you signed up for.
Right. It's a good
I
point.
have always educated people who want to come to a dog show to plan on spending some time, quality time, and not making a mad dash in and dash out. Spend some time, observe, get some literature, talk to people, ask questions. Because they, as you say, people want to share their expertise and knowledge.
It's often a good idea to ask a person who's grooming a dog or about to show a dog in the ring if this is an appropriate time to talk.
Oh, this is a good point.
And sometimes it's not. And, you know, I've told people I'll be glad to spend plenty of time with you, but give me 10 minutes. You know, and
After
I've
shown.
shown the
Or
dog.
wait until after the wait until after your
the class, because that's a good time for somebody to sit and, you know, I'll spend as much time as someone wants. I love to talk about my dogs, but there's lots of things to see at a show too, Brian. Besides,
Such as, well, I'm going to judge Pee-wee.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that. I have never done that before. And I'm really looking forward to that. And the ages are
I think they're like
young,
four,
very young.
4 to 6.
Four
Four
yeah.
to 8
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of fun and it's also going to expose the youngsters to actual showing in the ring. And they might be hooked for life.
Oh, it's a great class to watch. It's really fun.
I'm looking forward to having some
Yeah.
fun.
Me too.
In Pee-wee, the child comes in with his or her dog and a parent or a grandmother or some sort of adult support person. And so they go around with an adult. We don't just have everybody running
It's
in a
not going to
different
be a
direction.
free-for-all.
Free-for-all, right. But it's a great class to watch. And then there's junior showmanship, where the slightly older young people, starting at age 10, does junior start at
Yes.
10? At age 10 up to 18?
Up to 18.
So these would be middle school, high school
And
age
I've had
people.
wonderful experiences.
Oh,
in the
juniors
ring.
are great. They are often the best handlers at the show. They're
I like to go and
so-
sit and watch
They
them.
do such a beautiful job.
Yeah.
I have many fond memories of your daughter
Oh, well, thank
showing
you.
to me. Yes,
Oh, she had
did a fabulous
well,
job.
She had a wonderful time, and people put wonderful dogs in her hands. She got to show Boxers, Salukis, Weimaraners, Cardigan Welsh Corgis. It was a wonderful, wonderful
It
experience.
was for me
Wonderful experience.
a wonderful experience.
Love
having
them.
the chance to judge juniors in many, many parts of the country.
Yeah.
And the exposure for me and learning around, in the juniors ring around the country
Yeah.
has been wonderful.
Terrific. They're terrific.
But this is a smaller show than people might see on television.
That's right.
When they watch the groups, the breed winners. But there are judges coming from all parts of the country, and judges they may have seen on television at some
Right,
point
that's
or
right.
another.
That's right.
Prestigious judges coming. So that's another fun aspect. Oh, I remember that person.
Yeah, I've seen him on TV.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So the regular judging's in the morning, the classes we call them, and then usually after a lunch break there's the groups, the best of breed winners of each type of
Pee-wees
dog.
will be judged at noontime.
At noontime?
Oh, good.
Yes.
Okay. Good to know.
Yep.
Good to know.
So there'll be Nice quiet spot for them, I guess, huh?
It'll be fun.
And we also have an obedience trial and rally trial each day, so you can watch the dogs doing maneuvers that are where they're judged on their execution of behavior rather than simply their physical appearance, and that will be going on at the same time. So it's sort of a three-ring circus.
No, rally is different from obedience, right?
Right. Rally is different from obedience. Rally was developed and formalized by the AKC something like maybe 15 or 20 years ago, and it was developed as a way to get people started in obedience, because you can talk to the dog, you can, there's a lot of starting and stopping, whereas in an obedience class, we like for the class to move smoothly, where you move from one exercise to another. We don't talk to the dogs. We might give hand signals, or we will give single commands in many instances, whereas in rally, it's you have more of an opportunity to talk your dog through something. So it's a kind of a it was devised as a transition to obedience, but it has taken on a life of its own, and lots of people are really loving competing in rally as an end in itself.
I'd like to try it.
Yeah, it's neat. It's neat.
When I started 42 years ago, there were, I think, around 130 some breeds that were registerable. Now we are almost at 200. And there are breeds. When I come in to judge junior showmanship, there are many breeds that I do not have any history, or I have to really do my homework. There are now almost 200 breeds registerable.
I have seen names of some of the new breeds that I know nothing about, and that's one thing that I'm looking forward to learning about at the show. If some of these rare breeds that are being given AKC full member, what do we call it? Membership, registration,
They're
acknowledgement.
registerable, yeah.
That I don't know anything about, and I'm really interested to learn about them.
I always tell people to come and buy a catalog.
Yeah, there's a lot of good information, and
we have a lot of other information.
Right.
That is, you can just come and observe and take for free.
Right, there'll be handouts for people.
A lot of handouts.
Help you go further in your exploration of a particular breed.
And if there's a particular breed that people are interested in seeing, or a particular group of dogs, you can find out roughly what time they'll be shown.
That's right.
And what ring they'll be in. This is a relatively small show with about 500 dogs.
Limited to 500 dogs.
We've only got 4 rings.
4 rings. Sounds like a lot, 500 dogs, wow. But
to us, that's very, very little.
It's a smaller show, so that if you don't want to get there 10 minutes after the Lhasa Apsos have shown and people aren't there to chat with you, if that's the breed you want to look at. So you can get like a little mini schedule ahead of time on the web. It's infodog.com, and look up judging programs or the state of Rhode Island.
Right,
and you can find
there's a
the
search
show
by state category, and you go through there and you'll find the Rhode Island Kennel Club show listed.
And that's usually about a week before the show.
Right.
It gets published, so Easter Sunday you can make your plans.
Good idea. While you're hiding Easter eggs.
But plan and come and spend some time.
Yeah,
We'll be there.
you'll find it's very interesting. I love watching the different breeds be groomed because, of course, when you bring your dog to the show, you want him to look his best, and the dogs are, most of the dogs are so comfortable being on grooming tables that they'll stand and allow themselves to be brushed or clipped or shaped in some way. It's really, I enjoy that part of it.
Ivy had a big run on the beach today, so she's ready for her afternoon nap.
Oh, good. Well,
How did you become interested in border terriers?
My husband was, before he retired, a librarian,
Yes.
and he knew what type of dog and what qualities of the dog, characteristics, would be good for our family. So he did a lot of research, and then went looking and found a breeder who, unfortunately, is no longer with us. She was down on Cape Cod and met her family of dogs and visited with her and brought our Lily home in 1997. Oh, we
And how
miss
did
her.
you get involved?
I was teaching at Mount Ida College with another colleague, Stephanie Cotis, whom you know from
Very well.
dog shows, wonderful Lhasa breeder. And at that time, I was showing a golden retriever in obedience. And over the years that we taught together, Stephanie became a tremendous mentor for me. And so my way into Lhasas was really through starting with a mentor. And that's a very important feature in the dog
Yes,
world,
yes.
where we
Yes.
learn from one another. And so Stephanie placed my first Lhasa with me, my retired show dog, Ian, and when he was 3. And he and I did rally and obedience and all kinds of silly stuff, freestyle. We had lots of fun. And subsequently, I've stayed involved in the breed. I love them. And the way I got interested in curlies, curly-coated retrievers, my other absolutely adored breed, is that I was looking for a new breed for several reasons. And I was going to dog shows then, and I saw a curly-coated retriever in the ring, and I said, that dog has got what I want. And I talked to the woman who was handling him. I talked to the breeder who I was able to get in touch with, and I've had them now for, I guess 20 years or so, and I just adore them. They're persistent, as I said, and smart and very easy to groom. Very easy to groom. You just wash them and they shake, and that's the end of it. I mean, we do a little bit of trimming, but they're just marvelous. And it's the oddest combination to have Lhasa Apsos and curly-coated retrievers. But there is a woman in the Curly Club who has Pekingese, so I don't feel like I'm the only anomaly.
It's cute sometimes to see the little dogs with the big one
Yeah,
looking up at them.
yeah.
Where are we going, big guy?
I have a female Lhasa who is absolutely in charge of the house. The curlies are fine, whatever you say. Fine.
There's differences too in breeds about characteristics of boys and girls.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
you can ask about that. Are we better
Yeah.
to get a boy? This is the kind of activity our family does. Or I live in an apartment. What would be best for me? Is this dog good in a enclosed smaller space, or do they need a lot of exercise during the day? And
That reminds me of a book that was published and became very popular some years ago about the intelligence of dogs. And of course, it rated the Border Collie as the smartest dog. So everybody went out and got border collies and left them in apartments all day long while they went to work. Well, this goes back to what I was saying about persistence with the curly. If you want an intensely intelligent dog who's always looking for something to do, and you don't give him something to do, like run agility, herd several hundred sheep in your back paddock, go to obedience class and train vigorously, he's going to find something to do, and it's not going to be something that you would have chosen for him to do. So this idea of innate intelligence it has to have some discussion of context with it. And what sort of intelligence is it, and what sort of intensity is part of the expression of that intelligence. And that's the kind of thing that you learn when you talk to people who have been in a breed for a good long time and have experience with multiple dogs.
Border Terriers, for example, were bred originally to work on a farm, get the vermin, or go out on the hunt. And when the huntsman would get the hounds to corner a fox or, you know, something, these little guys would go underground and bolt the animal or dispatch it. And as a result, they had to learn to think on their own because there was no one else in the dark in the hole with them. So they tend to want to think and work things out and not be completely obedient as a Labrador Retriever might be.
Right.
It's just part of their nature and who they are. You can't fault them for it. It's just...
Right. We selectively breed them to have certain characteristics. We don't want to get mad at them for being who we have selectively bred them to be.
One other thing I want to point out is you can come on Saturday and stay the day. And if you want to come back on Sunday.
Oh, absolutely.
And stay and ask more questions. Maybe you went on Saturday and you have other questions, or you want to see another breed, you want to see it again, come back.
Absolutely, absolutely. It never gets old.
Not for us anyway.
Not for us anyway.
Plenty of parking too.
Yes,
Free parking.
plenty of parking, and remember, you
Which
don't.
is a big difference. Yeah.
You're not going to encounter some big unexpected expense. It's all.
I think it's just going to be a fun day for everybody.
I think it is.
Hope for sunshine.
Yeah.
Well, I thank both of you, ladies, for returning. It's been great, and we will see you at the dog show.
Yes, please come and join us.
And thank you for Fur, Fins, and Feathers, and we'll see you next time.